Before we get into this week's episode, I want to quickly tell you about our brilliant sponsor, Rad Scotland. If you are interested in working in the TV industry and you're not quite sure how to get in or where to start, then this could be the perfect opportunity for you. Rad Scotland is run by TRC Media, and it is an 8-month paid traineeship that places new entrants at an independent production company here in Scotland, and it also provides expert training and guidance for the duration of that programme. It's specifically designed to help people from underrepresented groups, including those from minority ethnic and socioeconomic disadvantaged backgrounds, and those who are deaf, disabled and neurodivergent. It's a brilliant scheme, and I actually had the chance to speak to some of this year's Rad trainees, and they all seem to get a lot out of it and thoroughly enjoyed it. To apply, you can click the link in our show notes. Applications close on the 3rd of June, which is a Wednesday, 5 p.m.
Just get a real job.
Well, I'm Jamie McKinley, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of Just Get a Real Job. I'm thrilled to welcome on the show today Craig Manson. Thank you very much for joining us.
Oh, thank you.
How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm not sponsored by Greg's, but I'm having a Greg's coffee.
And this is your first ever podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me. This is honestly a dream. Like, I've always wanted to be asked.
I love how
to
I'm
be
saying
on
us when it's me, but thank you for joining me.
Yeah, but you've got a community.
Yeah.
So there you go.
It's very nice. Well, your videos have been cutting through. You've been making lots of funny videos, sort of mocking some of the peculiar things about having a career in the arts.
Yeah.
And doing very well with it. So it's great to have you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I always say to people when they talk to me about it, I say it all the time where I'm like, who knew that such a niche topic could have such an audience? And it's not like, it's not like I'm like famous or anything from it, but I think the growth of how people have engaged with the videos, and like my follower count has suddenly skyrocketed from like 1,400 to like 9,600 or something like that. So it's a bit like, whoa, just from making fun of arts organisations primarily.
But even seeing like the amount of people I know who work in the arts, and some people are just generally who I just know, who I follow, who are like interacting with your videos. So you are really cutting through, which is great. I
know, it's weird. And I think some of them kind of cut through to non-arts things as well, which I kind of had my first little taste of like virality, if that's the right word, when I made a Twitter video way back in the day during COVID, where I was making fun of an artist asking a question at a post-show Q&A. And it was hilarious because that really it transcended the arts world. It was like suddenly everyone who has ever been to any kind of conference or something like that could relate to it, which was just very funny.
As someone who's recently left a job and is sort of looking for their new job in the TV industry, like the amount of how relatable your videos are to me at the moment is quite almost triggering in a way.
What's the one that you've related to the most?
I think it's just like the general, like we've had so many applications, like as if it's like a shock to them. Like
I know, it's like God forbid you had to sift
I'm not doing
through.
justice to your video there, but it's much funnier. But
yeah, but it is true. It's like, oh my God, we had no idea. So you're like, yes, you did. You clearly did.
Or not even getting a response because of too many applicants.
Yeah.
Or when they actually say this was meant to be open till the 12th of May, but we'd actually closed it early because we had an unprecedented.
Too much,
like, well, of course you were going to have that. But it's a bit unfair for somebody who's maybe working a job or is busy and they're like, right, I'm going to do an application tonight, and they go to apply and we've closed it early.
Yeah, totally. And I've had that experience. Or also, I think recently I'd done a video about when they like if you have applied for something but then they extend the deadline because it's either that like not enough people have applied or they just thought your application was shit and they don't want to give it to you. You're like, all right, cheers.
Well, do you want to sort of, for our listeners, Craig, do you want to sort of introduce yourself as well? Because obviously outside of making your viral videos, you're also a performer, you act, and you're taking a show to the Fringe this year and stuff. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about you.
Yeah, my name's Craig, and I'm a performer, an artist, mainly work in performance and theatre, so I make my own shows and perform in them. I went to the conservatoire and did the contemporary performance practice course, which was very controversial and is now shut down. So I kind of graduated and was like, I'm going to be a performance artist and a performance maker, and then I think did that for a few years, and maybe in the last 4 or 5 years I started to kind of, I don't know, lose my spice with it a little bit. So I started doing more acting jobs, or like working on plays, and yeah, doing more like comedy stuff and satire stuff, which I really enjoyed. And yes, I'm doing a show at the Fringe this year, which will be on sale on Wednesday. I don't know where this comes out.
Well, then this comes out, the show will be on sale, so there'll be links in the show notes. It's called Bunny, isn't it?
It's called Bunny, and yeah, it's a solo performance that I've made that's about an aspiring musical theatre starlet called Bunny who can't get any work, so she decides to become a serial killer to streamline the talent pool in the country to try and up her chances of landing a role. So yeah, it's a very stupid premise, and I'm doing it all DIY, so it probably will be very DIY. Like, I don't have a director.
It's a late night slot though as well, isn't it?
Yeah, 10:15 at Summer Hall, in the Anatomy Lecture Theatre, which, yeah, I think I was a bit apprehensive about that, but I've been assured by quite a few people who've done late night slots at the Fringe before. Well, they've kind of been like, oh, it's actually not that late. So, but I don't know. We'll see. When I open the door and start performing to like 2 people, we'll see how it goes. Yeah.
Well, that's exciting for sure. I'm going to come back to that because I want to ask you about how that sort of come about and things as well. Love to ask people where they're from and how that sort of has an impact on their identity as an artist, but also on like the sort of work you make and things as well.
Well, I'm from Wick, which is right up at the top of Scotland. It's like the last town you get to before John O'Groats. So yeah, I grew up there. How's it affected my work? I'm not really sure. Well, I think there's there's a show that I did that was a reimagining of the Selkie myth, which are these mythical creatures that are seals and then can take off their skins and become human. So I did like a kind of gay reimagining of that show that I did last year. Well, I actually made it. It was my degree show, and then I restaged it last year. But I suppose that's had a big connection to where I grew up, because I grew up right next to the sea and with things like Selkie stories and seals. I make it sound like Wick is this like lovely little fairy tale land, but yeah, it's just a small fishing community, and it's very remote. Like the nearest city, inverted commas, is Inverness, which is a 2-hour drive away. So I think growing up so remotely kind of made me, I don't know, yearn for something a lot bigger. But also, I think when I was growing up there, like my family were, like my parents had me very, very young, and I was kind of constantly at like parties and stuff when I was growing up. So I think I had quite a good sense of like fun and people coming together and partying and stuff, which I think has influenced my performance work, because I tend to try and always bring that kind of vibe.
Sort of trying to entertain people maybe.
Yeah, and even if you're making something about something quite serious, about trying to do that in a way that is uplifting and fun, because I think that's just the way that I connect with making performance, and it's why I enjoy doing it.
But growing up somewhere that remote did you think you could actually have a career doing what you're doing now? Because I mean, I'm from Glenrothes, which is a little bit, it's not remote in at all in the same way Wick is, but being in a sort of small town in Fife, it's like it didn't feel possible to have a career in the arts, if that makes sense.
I think, in loads of ways it didn't. In loads of ways it did, because I was so delusional about my ability to be able to do it that I like, even in school, like I skived school all the time and never ever went to any of my classes apart from the ones that I cared about. So I wasn't able to do drama at my school, so I had to go to Inverness every Saturday to do it. So I would get the bus, 3.5 hour bus there, do drama all day and then come back. So I was very committed to doing it. And I think, the minute that I was 18, I just knew that I wanted to get out of there as soon as possible. It's not to say that I hate Wick. Like, I do have a lot of love for it, but it's, I guess, just for the ambitions that I had when I was that age. But I suppose there was a big sense of like, this isn't something that happens to someone who comes from a place like this or comes from the kind of background that I'm from, being from a working class family, which is obviously a huge barrier to people working in the arts.
Yeah, it's a very common theme on this podcast, which I mean is an important one to sort of talk about as well.
And and I am very lucky that I've that I was able to have the opportunity to audition for the conservatoire and then move down and stuff, because there's a lot of people who can't have that possibility because they've got, I don't know, caring responsibilities, or they've got to get a job the minute they leave school to like they can't afford it. And so I was very lucky that I could make that happen.
And did you get into the conservatoire on your first attempt then?
No, God, no. I auditioned when I was 17 and I didn't even get an interview. I did the group audition and then I didn't get shortlisted for an interview. But thank God, because I would never have been able to do that level of study when I was that young.
Yeah.
So I was pretty broken about that, and then because I had put so much of my hopes on getting out of there and doing that specific course as well, because it felt like at the time it was very aligned to what I wanted to do. So then I moved to Inverness, the next best thing.
It really felt like the big city.
Oh yeah, it definitely did. And because I had done drama there as well during school, I had friends there. So I did a HNC in acting and performance at Inverness College, which I really enjoyed. And it was funny because I skived school so much and I was so known for that. But when I did that at college, I was there every single day. Like I just loved it because I was actually there doing something that I really, really cared about. And then I just spent that year trying to learn more about contemporary performance and devising theatre and trying to sharpen my skills. And then auditioned again, and then I think because my audition piece that I did when I was 17, it was so humiliating. Like when I think back on it, I can't even properly remember what I did, but I remember coming out of it being like, that was so shit. And then I think the people who were running my audition had also ran my audition last year, and I think they remembered me because my audition piece was so bad. So I think that they then I think they were impressed with the progress that I made. And then I got in.
That's brilliant. I mean, second time lucky for that. Places. I mean, for our listeners, and not just in Scotland, like the Conservatoire is one of the main, or probably the only proper drama school. When I say proper, I'm not like putting any other institutions down, but I mean it's the only kind of recognised official sort of drama school in Scotland. I mean, I went to Queen Margaret actually, which has got some good drama courses as well, in fairness.
Well, I think, and there's a lot of elitism even in that,
because
it's like I've always been a big advocate of people coming up through things like HNCs or HNDs.
I think it's so important, and you're pushed at school to go to uni all the time. I mean, I was about to actually, my life might have taken a completely different path. I nearly did a drama and performance HNC at Fife College, but got in through clearing to like QMU to study film and theatre. And then I'm kind of glad in hindsight, because I don't think acting is for me. I probably wouldn't be sitting here right now doing the podcast or anything if I'd went on that path or whatever. But it is but I do think there's a great value in, like, at the time I thought like, oh, I'm going to uni, it'll be way better than going to college. And it's like, because you're sort of, that's inherited, like, I don't know, it's kind of ingrained in you through the school system, which in hindsight you're like, maybe uni isn't for everyone anyway. And especially now where like you get a degree, it doesn't really give you that much extra chance of employment.
Totally. And there can be this feeling as well. Like I remember when I got into RCS, there was this feeling of like, oh my God, I'm sorted. That's me. Like the minute that I've got that on my CV, I'll just have constant work. And like, it'll be hard, but I'll do it. And obviously it's not like that at all, because you grow up and realize that there's loads of different factors that play at that. But and also that loads of really great artists don't even train, or they just start making work. Like an artist that I really loved when I was at uni was an artist called Scotty, who I think he does yoga primarily now, but he used to make performance work, and he didn't train, and he was working class, so he was like a nice inspiration for me as well, of like, you don't need all of this infrastructure in order to make work and connect with people, you know.
Well, the amount of people I've now met who working in TV and stuff that didn't go to uni and train formally, started working when they're like 17, 18, are probably, you know, better off for it, less debt. I mean, it's all depend on your own personal circumstances as well, because like for me, as much as the courses at uni, I got the social experience. I enjoyed that aspect of it and the sort of time to grow. But then, you know, as you say, you do have that thing when you probably get into a bigger drama school, you're like, I've made it. And it's like, well, it's a big bad world out there after.
I know. And then it's funny how the challenge moves, because there's such a massive challenge of you even auditioning and getting in. And then once you start, I think you quickly realise like, fucking hell, this isn't going to be easy. It's and and especially the course that I did. Well, I think this probably applies to all the drama courses, but I mean, essentially, you're in a room full of people who were all the best in their like drama class at school, and now suddenly all of you are in the same room, and it can feel a bit competitive, and it can feel like you've got something to prove, and you're also getting graded on everything that you do, which is just a whole other thing.
Wouldn't really happen when you're doing real stuff in the same way anyway.
Yeah, and especially the course that I did, it was a world that I was not familiar with at all, and I think a lot of people who went on the course weren't really familiar with. So you really were kind of putting aside everything you thought you knew about performance and chucking yourself into this new world, and sometimes there were some things that you did where you were like, oh God, I'm actually not good at that thing, or I don't really like that thing, but I love this thing. And then you kind of...
But that's one of the good things about getting to study something, if you do get the chance to do it, is you have that chance to experiment where you maybe don't quite in the same way if you're having to go out and make a living. Did they prepare you there for what the industry is actually like when you leave, like the amount of failure you're going to have to go through, or the amount of rejection? Or
No. To be honest, I don't think any drama school or conservatoire could ever really do it, because it becomes such a theoretical thing of like, you know that there's going to be rejection and knockback. But I guess when you're at a drama school, because it's probably one of the only opportunities that you're going to have to make work so intensively and have access to all these resources and all that stuff, the focus just kind of gets put on that. But then that means that when you graduate, it's so bizarre. Like, I think that feeling after you graduate is so specific. And I think everybody, well, not everybody, there are a few people who just graduate and immediately just start ruling the world. And good for them. But that didn't happen for me. And that feeling of suddenly being chucked out into the world, and suddenly nobody gives a fuck about you. Nobody cares about what you do. Nobody knows who you are. And now you're having to navigate a whole other world and a whole other set of challenges.
Well, I think that's a very universal experience to all graduates, from no matter what degree they're doing in things as well. And weirdly, I'm kind of feeling a bit like that now, having left River City. Even though I'm known for a year, I'm leaving, and it's different because I've worked, I do have contacts, I have this amazing community for the podcast and stuff, but it feels like me and my colleagues have all like graduated, and it's that way when people start getting jobs, you're obviously very happy for them, but then you're like, what am I doing? Like, you feel like you're falling behind, and it's like weird, uncertain thing. I've not had that for about 5-6 years of my life. Which
is one of the reasons that, or it's one of the things that is featured in Bunny, and the idea of competition, and can you simultaneously be happy for people but also be really fucking annoyed that
it's
I
a
didn't
weird
get
thing,
that
and it's hard to talk about without sounding like a dick almost, right?
Oh God,
but it's like whenever you have a close friend, you like genuinely, you are really happy for them, so half of you's like, oh, you deserve that, but then the other part of you's like, if you're in a place you're maybe not happy with, it's like, oh, I really wanted that opportunity, or like, they've got a job, what am I doing? So it's like falling behind. I think you get that very specifically in the creative industries, and it can be tricky.
Yeah, totally. And it's I mean, and it's also, it's just because that's how capitalism operates, and as long as the arts is in a capitalist structure, it's going to be like that. But it's a tricky thing to balance, and there is always going to be that resentment, I think, because but then it's nice to be able to put it into an outlet like a performance, or because a lot of people, I mean, even though the point of Bunny is not that we should be looking at Bunny as like this inspirational figure, like she's very much a critique of that, but a lot of people have said to me when I've done little works in progresses, they're like, it's so hilarious because it taps into a feeling that I think all artists have, and like materializes it somehow.
No, I think it is very universal, and I wonder if we do, when people are doing university courses, if there should be more of that taught. And one of the reasons I started this podcast, when I was leaving my masters, like, there's loads of this stuff you just don't get taught. And I've learned this by doing this podcast for this like 5.5 years, like the amount of how many people fail and the different journeys. Like, there's no right path. The amount of people I've interviewed who maybe started later in life, or how like thought they'd made it, they'd won like a BAFTA or whatever, and then they're like, well, I'm still, need to pay the rent.
And that's also because I think about this a lot, working in particularly like contemporary performance or making work. There isn't a clear step ladder to success, and you know, you might perform in MoMA, like alongside Marina Abramovich or something like that, and then you'll think, oh, I've made it. But then after that, you just go back to like Hoover in your house. I actually had that when I did the Fringe for the first time in 2022, and I did a kind of like dance parody show, which was very polarizing. Like some people loved it and other people absolutely hated it. But I was very naive and was just like, oh my God, everyone's going to love it. And because I'd done it in Glasgow, and everyone who had seen it was like, that was amazing. It's going to be the hit of the Fringe. And it was not. But I remember after doing that, going home and just being in my flat on my own, and like my body was just totally broken after, I mean, I was only performing for 2 weeks. I didn't even do the full run, but it was a very physical show. And I remember like texting friends that I had made who were also doing the Fringe that year, and everyone was being like, I feel so fucking weird. Like, I can't believe that just happened. But now I'm just back.
Well, that's
to where
often
I
what it
was.
is. You're on a high and then suddenly on a low. It's like, even for me, I've basically worked straight for 5 years, really lucky in TV to have like a 5-year run scripted in and stuff. And this is the most time I've ever had for the last 2 and a bit weeks where I'm like suddenly stopped. And it kind of feels like I'm on annual leave or something. I'm not gonna lie, it hasn't quite sunk in yet. But it does feel suddenly weird to go from being like very busy to not having more time. It's like a weird come down almost. It's strange.
And it's like nothing's ever certain with it, because like when you tell me about how you're a script editor and you work on River City and stuff, like to me that is so cool, and that is so like out of my realm that I have worked in so far. So I'm always just like, God, you're so successful and you're doing so well. But like you
it's
said,
strange that you don't think it yourself. Even people say, even by like having a platform or a podcast or something, people go, you must be like making a bit of money from that. It's like, no. So if anyone does want to sponsor the Patreon, please do. Links in the show notes. But I want to talk about your videos as well, because obviously you won't have set out to become a content creator as well as like a performer and stuff. When did you sort of first start posting, and what was the sort of reason behind it?
Well, my first one was that
Twitter one.
The Twitter one, yeah. And I think that was more a case of like right place in the right time. Like it wasn't particularly like a well-crafted video or anything. It was just like we were in lockdown. Everybody was on their phones, so everybody saw it. Like even Ricky Gervais liked it.
Wow, that's quite cool though.
Yeah, it was like, whoa. Yeah, so that was my first one, and then I think I tried to tried to capitalize on that a little bit, but it was just that classic thing that I kind of knew would happen, which was I had one video that did really, really well. And then every other one was kind of like, oh, it's not doing as well. And then that next one's not doing as well. So yeah, and then obviously everything that Twitter became X, and then that became a whole shit show. So everybody just left. And then I think the first one that I did was a parody of a rejection email.
I think I've seen that.
Yeah,
very good.
And thank you. But I posted that, and like that didn't really get that much attention. And then the second one I did was a theatre announces its new season, which for some reason that just felt like it hit something, because people from like all over the world were talking about how similar it is, which was just so funny, because I never would have anticipated that. That was more just me observing how I was seeing Scottish theatres programme things kind of consistently, and how boring I was finding it. That's not to discredit people's work.
I was going to ask, actually, have you had any real companies react to your videos or ever mention it to you? Like, because you're obviously poking fun of them. Part of it is tongue in cheek, right? Some of it is you obviously legitimate. You're articulating like maybe problems with our industry in a funny way, but some of it also is just a bit of banter and like a bit of fun and stuff. Have you had any companies or anyone that react or ever mention to you in person?
Yeah, no, I went to the press night of, what's it called? That new musical that Alan Cummings in, The High Life.
Yes.
I went to that with my pal James, and that was really funny, because a lot of people at that press night came up to me and they were like,
great.
oh my God, I love your videos. And I was just like, oh my God, who knew this press night was actually for me? But yeah, I think it's always really lovely when people do that. And I've even had people being like, I work in arts marketing, and you are literally ripping the piss out of me, but I think it's brilliant. You should keep on doing it. So that's always really nice. Luckily I've never had anybody have a negative response to it, or if they have,
They kept.
they've kept it to themselves, and probably quite right. So yeah, no, and even like some arts organizations have reposted like my open call video and kind of made fun of themselves by being like, yeah, surprise, it's that time of year again. We're actually doing an open call and it'll be exactly like this, which I think is really funny. So yeah.
That's right. People, it's good to have a laugh about it and poke fun. And you're also kind of almost, in a way, it's celebrating some of them as well in a strange thing.
Yeah, because I never ever make them out of a place of like a vendetta or like a... Or with this thing of like that I know better, because I don't like I have no solutions to like any problems that you might that I make fun of, but I still think that there is still value in making fun of it and having a laugh about it, because before that those videos weren't there, and those people who've reached out to me and been like, oh my god, I feel so seen, it's like I still think that's worth it to do. But yeah, I never ever intend for it to be like specifically targeted at anyone. I mean, there are obviously choices that arts organizations make that inspire the videos, but it's never ever about like a specific person. I think I've maybe did one video that had a bit of an anger to it, where I think it was like I wrote like the email that I want to send to my rejection email.
Yeah.
And that actually did come from a bit of anger, because I'd just been rejected for the Made in Scotland showcase with my Selkie show. And like I've obviously had loads of rejections and can take them very well at this point, but for some reason that one really fucked me off, because I was so certain, I was so like, this show is brilliant and it is literally perfect for that showcase, and I've been in it before, so I know what the process was like. And then it was a no, and they did give me feedback, to be fair to them, and they did say that they thought I was like a very impressive performer and stuff from the what's it called, the documentation I gave them. But then they said, they were like, oh, we felt like it was maybe a bit underdeveloped and it needed work on the script. And I was like, who the fuck are you? It's like, fuck off. So I was very angry, and yeah, I did that. Interestingly, because you can see on your dashboard on Instagram like the growth of your account and like your how you gain followers and when you gain unfollowers, or when people unfollow you. Yeah, and I remember when I posted that video, I had like 20 people unfollow me that day. So it's actually quite good, because it makes me be like, okay, people really respond to like this kind of thing, but maybe when I'm being a bit more angry, they don't really respond that well, which is, yeah, it's just...
But when I watch that video, for example, like, that's the sort of thing you think, but you'd never actually say to a company. Sometimes it's just that weird, like, you're like, oh.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating when you go, I would have been good for that job.
Yeah. And I think because I think I'm always quite honest about how I feel when I get rejections and stuff. Like I try as much as possible to be balanced and to be able to be like, yeah, I can understand why they didn't do it, but I still feel a bit like shit. But but I don't know why. I think it was that one just really, it really got to me. I think there was someone on the panel who had given me like a bit of a patronizing review of a show that I did a few years ago. So I think I was...
Reviews are always quite a weird thing, because like we're all a bit of a critic ourselves when we watch a film and stuff, but like sometimes it's like, I don't know, I feel like if I'm ever watching an indie film, for example, like, and I never give it a bad review on Letterboxd, even if I thought it was a bit crap, because you're like, people have made this.
Yeah.
It's like that weird thing, so I find that quite a bit of a strange one with theatre reviewers at the Fringe, for example, or it's a hard... When I know they're doing their job and they do have to sell papers or whatever, but sometimes it's just like there's a way of doing it which can feel quite like punching down almost. Yeah,
I agree, and I've had a few reviews before that have been really like, Jesus Christ, like it really feels like you personally hate me.
Yeah.
But yeah, because I think even when I see shows that I don't particularly like love or like connect to, I think my perspective on it is always just like, well, do you know what, like this is what you cared about, and you got up on stage and you did your best and you made a show that you really believed in. Like, good on you. That's great. Like, I think that's always how I leave it, even if it's not something that I particularly connect.
Yeah, well, I mean, part of my job as a script editor is we're always encouraged to sort of like the shit sandwich you approach. Whenever, even if you read a script, right, and I've read plenty of dreadful scripts in my career so far, but you'd never just go back with notes that were just completely slated.
Yeah.
It's just like you want people to come back and try again, and you know, you've got to try and give the positive.
I know it's one thing that I feel like people really don't understand. Like I've given that as feedback to people and organizations before, or like if I've done sharings of a work that I'm doing where I'm asking for feedback, I'll always say, like, remember that positive feedback is also welcome, and I'm not just looking for you to slate it. Whereas, and people have responded being like, God, yeah, I've never really thought about that, because I always just assume like you're wanting to find out what's wrong with it so you can make it better. And you're like, yeah, I am, but if you just tell me that,
well, everyone's
it's
also
going to make me
different.
feel
It's also
shit.
everyone's different, so it's constructive feedback. Is
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
we should all aim for. I know you were saying earlier, you maybe don't have solutions as such, but do you have a sort of read of the industry at the moment? Like, I mean, I know you particularly work in the sort of theatre space, but how is the sort of local theatre space right now? And do you have a sort of hot take of where it is at?
It's just absolutely brilliant. It's never been better. It's crap. It's I mean, I can only speak about my reality, I suppose, but I mean, like, I've been in the back end of an overdraft for about 10 years. I've come out of that overdraft twice, maybe, in the entire time, and I've gone straight back in. So I'm not making any money really from it. I don't understand how anybody. Well, I say I don't understand. I think it is impossible to be someone who makes their own work, theatre shows, whatever, and to just be doing that in Scotland right now. Like, literally impossible. And if you are, it's because you've got some kind of financial backing, or you've got like a rich wife or husband, which is great. Like, you know, you do you, but also, like, don't pretend that that's just because of your own hard graft and success, because it's like everybody's working hard. And yeah, but I suppose, like, hot takes, I've probably got loads that would probably all be very easily disputed. But because I don't see myself as any like big authority on things, but probably, like, off the top of my head, I think that there's not enough stuff being made or being supported where the focus is about people coming together to just have a good time. And I think that that's really, really important right now, because we're like culturally very polarized and very separated, that I think making work that is more irreverent and more fun and kind of stupid is, like, I think there's great value in that. And I always think of my own work like that. And people will always be like, oh, don't undermine what you do. And I'm like, I'm not. I think it's got huge value. I feel like there's always like this sense of like what you make has to be making some kind of point. Or particularly, like, going back to reviewers, sometimes I feel like that's how they approach things. They're kind of like, it kind of feels like they're going in being like, well, you didn't make the point good enough, so it was a crap show. Or this, then it kind of becomes like a culture of, basically it's just like, who can make the best point about the best topic in the most unusual way? And that's the one that we'll say is a really great show. So I think there needs to be a bit more irreverence and celebratoriness in what we do. I also think that arts organisations, if they kind of continue to work in the way that they are, they're kind of just going to become obsolete, because I think the majority of the time they're not actually doing anything to support an artist. Like, I was reading something on Instagram that someone had tagged me, and I can't remember what it was, but it was talking about how so many venues and so many arts organisations put out opportunities or like do these things that are basically just to benefit them, but they claim that it's to benefit an artist in the long term.
Okay.
But it's actually just about so that they can be like, look, we did this and we did that, when it actually has no impact on the artist's
It's
career.
a strange one because it's almost like you need everyone to sort of be in tandem to each other, because you want venues to be successful, you want companies and arts organisations to be successful because it helps the ecosystem for everyone. But because there was that article that came out, I think it was might have been the Herald. I'm going to if I'm wrong, I'll correct the record later. But it was like that article about the most influential people in the Scottish creative industries are like Quango's companies or something. It came out the other day. So really interesting reading. It was basically saying how like it was kind of making that point you've just made actually about like there's not enough joined up thinking almost, and like a lot of people who have the sort of influence over things are just venues or people that own, or landlords really.
Yeah, because I mean it is that thing of like, you know, why are artists not more at the forefront of like decisions and stuff like that? Because also, I mean, like artists are the one, like anyone who works in more kind of like senior management roles or anything like that, they're obviously the ones who rake in the money and get a salary, while artists get barely anything. But their jobs wouldn't exist if artists weren't making work. And yeah, there's a lot of fear out there about like AI and like AI taking over artists' jobs, and I'm like, AI could easily take over like those, like their jobs. Like I could get AI to make me a budget like that. Like
Well, I
don't
think
need.
it actually now is, to be fair. I think one of the most frustrating things of the job market is it's often it's AI talking to AI now.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of these sort of like middle jobs are sort of starting to go.
Totally,
It's quite scary.
But that's why it's
But it
like
makes a point.
yeah, that's why I think there needs to be more investment in artists and caring for them and making sure that they're looked after so that they can make really good quality work and be part of the ecosystem rather than it being feeling like a hierarchy. Yeah, and also it's not to say that I think all people who work in those roles are crap people, like they're not. But it can just sometimes be frustrating because you're kind of like, because like this year, for example, it's the first year ever where I had no work. I like started in January and there was literally nothing in the planner. Last year I was quite lucky. I had quite a bit of work. This year it was like, but there was a joy to it as well, because I was like, well, I can do whatever I want. And then the offer of the Fringe came along and I was like, great,
That's
I can
brilliant.
do that. But you know, I'm also still like having to work part-time jobs that I don't want to work.
Well, that's actually a really nice segue. One of our sort of classic just get a real job question, but we'd all had to work part-time jobs, as you mentioned, sometimes to support ourselves. What is the worst you've had to do?
The worst? Oh my God. I mean, I have been very, very lucky in that I've never really, like, even when I've worked like a bar job and I've had to like clean like shit and piss and spew off of like the floor or whatever, I think I've always been quite lucky that I've worked in places that I've felt very supported by. So in terms of the worst one, probably, I don't know. I mean, even then it wasn't really that bad, but I worked briefly as a PR for a gay bar, just handing out flyers and stuff. And it was just a bit dehumanizing because I was just like, like people were just ignoring me the whole time, which obviously to a performer is the worst possible thing that could happen. But no, I've been very lucky. Like I used to work at the Arches when I was a student, and then that shut down, obviously. I used to work at the art school behind the bar, which, yeah, that could be pretty rough sometimes, working club nights and stuff. But the community that I had there was really, really great. And I think it was actually really important for me to work at that bar for so long after I graduated, because it made me a bit less insular, because I was working with people who had no idea what performance art was. And I could be like, okay, can ground myself a bit. And I worked at the CCA, which was great, and it also shut down. There's a common denominator
Of places
shutting down, and it's always places that I work for.
But I think that actually highlights another big issue at the moment, is all the amazing art spaces we're losing in Glasgow.
I know. Well, that's the thing. I mean, yeah, it's probably a bit hypocritical because I slag off arts organisations, but it is really important to keep them alive because, right now CCA shut down. There was that whole thing with Trongate, and I mean, even like the Flying Duck is shutting down, which is like a great music venue and like alternative performance space. So yeah, it can feel very, very bleak, and it's kind of like, I don't know, where do we go after that?
Yeah, well, we've got time for sort of one more question before we run out, but Well, let's end on a positive.
Okay.
What's the sort of, have you got some advice or anything you've learned in your journey that you've maybe pass on to other people that are trying to forge a career right now?
I think somebody said to me once that if you're not having fun, what is the point in doing it? And that's something that I've taken quite a lot, because I think it is true. Like, if you are willingly choosing to work in an industry that is so precarious, so financially unviable, and obviously you're making that choice to do that, don't make it miserable for yourself. Like, make it really, really fun, and don't allow like don't allow other people to try and squeeze you to make things in a certain way or whatever, because you have to like love what you're making, and you have to be prepared to do that for free. Not all the time, obviously, but it's like, you know, even doing like the videos and stuff, like I really enjoy doing those. I don't get any money from that yet. But I mean, even that, like, people have really rallied together, and like I set up like a Ko-Fi page, and people have given me money and stuff like that. It's been so generous in a time where I was kind of out of a job and stuff. But yeah, I would basically say have a lot of fun, and just put yourself out there, like, just as much as you can. Obviously not everyone can do this, but as much as you can, just try and do stuff yourself, and try and make things happen that way. Because I think especially when you graduate, there's that period of time where you are kind of sitting around waiting for a phone call or waiting for an email that will be like, we want to cast you in this, even though you've done nothing to put yourself out there. But yeah, because I think even me making the videos, like, I remember when I first started making videos, I felt really embarrassed by it and really cringe.
Oh, the idea when anyone I know watches anything I put out online, if it's like when people you actually know see it, you're like, oh, it's so cringe. But it's also, you have to kind of get over that, because it's amazing when people you don't know find them.
Yeah. And I think it's because it's also that thing of like people seeing you try. People are seeing you try to get something off the ground. And obviously when you start, I mean, you probably would have had it with the podcast as well. Like when you start up a podcast, I'd imagine it's not like...
Oh, it goes and so... You'll have episodes that do really well. Even now, after this long, I've got an amazing core audience, but some episodes don't do as well. You post a video. I posted one last night. It's only had like 400 views, and then the other day you get way more. It's a total lottery. So
or like sometimes with my videos, they get like thousands of views but like barely any likes, which is like, oh wow, so maybe it's just shit. But I think you'd like one of the key things that has probably come from you doing that is that you haven't allowed that to demoralize you.
Well, it's also not that you have to remind yourself, it's not the reason I'm doing this. But I think what you're doing with videos as well is a great, not everyone has to make content, but it's a great way of being proactive and getting more visibility. And it's also just of connecting with people. Like I've met some really, really cool people from it, and I love when I get people's DMs and stories about what they've, like, stuff that's happened to them. And I've had like a couple of work opportunities from it as well. Oh, it's brilliant. Great. Well, I wouldn't have been able to have you on the podcast. I would have seen your videos. So
exactly.
Craig, thank you very, very much for your time today. I encourage people to go and see Bunny at the Fringe. I'll definitely come along myself, and links to all Craig's videos and work and stuff in the show notes. But thank you very much for coming on Just Get Real. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. It's been a dream come true.
Just get a real job.